Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Welcome to another episode. Going to be continuing on the spaceship ride here. Really feeling the spaceship designs lately, so going to continue on that route. And as always, starting up with the sketching phase. Just figuring out some ideas, some really quick iterations, just trying to figure out some shapes and compositions that work. For this one, I really wanted to try something a little bit different from my previous designs. Wanted to really try out something a little bit more towards the softer shape language. I've been doing a lot of very angular designs, but this one going to be trying something a little bit more cylindrical, a little bit more on the rounded shape of things, softer edges, just to try something a little bit new. And one of the things that is a challenge with softer shapes is the blending of the shadows and the highlights. And yeah, that's something that I'm looking forward to trying to tackle and trying to get myself better at. But yeah, one of the benefits of using 3D again is that it really helps you with lighting and all those things that I just mentioned. So yeah, having something based out in 3D is really going to help me figure out the transitions between light and shadow, as you'll see later on in this video. Yeah, with this one using a lot of real life references from submarines. And on second thought, I should have used a lot of references as well from rocket ships. So maybe for the next one I'll do something like that. But yeah, there's also a lot of interesting shapes that came out from the submarine references. And here, starting out with very angular objects, but again, really trying my best to use softer, more beveled edges for this design here. So here trying to, make some indentations, pull some verts a little bit here and there, just to break up the uniform shapes and scales. Add a little bit more visual interest. Make some insets. Now happy with that shape over there overall, and now bringing it into my lighting phase here. You're super quick with that one. Just had my previous light setup, directional light and an ambient light. Played around a little bit with the proportions a little bit, and then bringing it back into 3D, and once again just really exporting it out. Nothing too elaborate there. And now entering the final phase of the 2D paint over. which again is the majority of the work here, and the majority of the enjoyment, to be completely honest. This is the part here that I can't really wait to get to, and this is definitely the most fun part of the process for me. It's the most creative, the least technical. You know, I'm definitely one of those artists that are, you know, I think that I do have quite a bit of experience with the technical side of things. I know quite a few software. I know quite a few technical tools, but at the end of the day, I'm really trying to get to the artistic side of things. And yeah, the sooner that I can get to that, the better for me. Yeah, so these episodes, if you're curious, take me about a week to complete. So each of these pieces take about a week in terms of recording the content, recording the painting, the whole artistic process, as well as the recording and uploading and all that stuff. But one of the tips that I would like to give is, you know, every time you you sit down for a session, I would highly recommend that, you know, for example, I probably spend about an hour at a time every time I have a session. And it takes me about 2 to 3 hours a week to complete a painting like this, spread throughout the week. But one of the things that really work for me is that when I finish a session, I always end it at a point where I feel excited about something. So I always try to end it at a good note. And I think one of the things that's beneficial when you do things that way is that the next day you are excited to get back to it, right? So if you leave something in a good note and you know, you finish that session with a positive vibe, then the next day you'll just be more excited to get back to it and to sit down and to continue working on it. And obviously it's not going to be like that every night. There's going to be some struggles. There's going to be a lot of some times when you might feel frustrated, and that's fine too. But as much as you can, try to finish a good painting or sketching session on a positive note, right? And I think that really helps in terms of motivation and just you know, keeping going. So that's one tip that something that's really worked for me a lot. So yeah, give it a try. And so at this point, I've added a lot of detail, some panel lines, a lot of insets that weren't there before, to create some visual interest and some surface frequency. And I've also gone in to soften up the shadows and make them, you know, a little less artificial. And I've mentioned this in the previous videos of whenever you use 3D, there tends to be a tendency to it really makes the piece look very computerized and artificial. And one of the things that I think really make the piece a lot more appealing is to go in there and add a touch of humanity as opposed to the render, right? And what I mean by that is going into the shadows and all the sharp sort of edges and touching them up and make them feel a little bit more natural. And I think it really adds a lot to the whole aesthetic of the design. You're trying out some things here, trying to add to the design and to the silhouette. And yeah, I do this stuff quite a lot, try to experiment, and they don't always work, right? So at the end of the day, sometimes I try things and I end up just chucking it all together because it just doesn't really add to the piece. So here, three different attempts to try adding some components to make the piece a little bit more interesting, but I decided not to add them and just chuck them all together. Yeah, now getting to the point where it's starting to feel good. I'm starting to feel, quite confident with this design here. Starting to add the finishing touches. And of course, adding the emissive pass. What is a sci-fi design with without emissive lights in the dark sections? I think it really just elevates the aesthetic of the design here. And I'll say it again, use it sparingly. You don't want to overdo it. And here, one last attempt to add a little bit more interest to the silhouette here. And this one actually sticks. Giving it sort of a little bit of a shape language to indicate that this is, it's got a little bit of that hovercraft vibe. Yeah, which I found really cool, and I decided to keep this. Yeah, pretty much wrapping this up. This is this week's video. I really enjoyed it, and I make these videos because I draw anyway. I like to make art pretty much on a nightly basis. So yeah, I thought I would record it for everyone and hope you get something out of it, and hope you learn some things. And I hope that you improve on your art as well by watching these videos. So once again, if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Aside from that, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.